Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Ashley Grossman. I am the Director of Membership with the Society for Simulation in Healthcare, and we're so excited that you could join us today for our Connections Program webinar. So first of all, what exactly is the IMSH Connections Program? It's the latest in a series of programs that have been designed to help the first-time attendee of IMSH and other attendees that might need some assistance with attending this conference. Its intent is to have a program that helps folks that maybe have never attended IMSH before, or who maybe have attended in the past, but it's been quite a while. So just to reacquaint them with what to expect at the conference. It's been formatted in a way that will link you with some experienced past IMSH attendees. And the program is primarily virtual this year, but there will be some tips and tools available for you on site that will help you out. So what are some of the challenges that our attendees are faced with, especially those that may not have ever attended IMSH in the past? It is quite a large conference. We're expecting upwards of 3,000 attendees, hopefully this year. So there will be lots of people there, lots of people excited, lots of people to meet. One question we're often asked is, how will somebody know how to select courses? What's the best way to get around the exhibit hall? How do I know where to go, when to go there? What are all the various meetings of committees, interest groups, etc.? Am I able to attend all of those? Sometimes it might just feel a little bit overwhelming and you don't even know where to start. So we're here to help you out with that as well. And just want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your experience at this conference. Likely you'll be away from work for a little while. So we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your time there and have lots of great things that you can take back to your organizations. So first of all, we want to start at a high level with some tips on navigating the IMSH conference. One thing we want to mention to start is you want to make sure to wear some comfortable shoes. You're going to be walking quite a bit. If you're staying at the headquarters hotel, the Hyatt Regency, it's probably about a 15-minute walk to the convention center. So just be sure to keep that in mind as you're planning out your schedule and allowing yourself some time to get to any sessions or events that you're going to be attending. We also would suggest that you try to familiarize yourself with the educational offerings in the schedule in advance of going to the conference. We also will have an events app specific for the conference, and some information on that will be coming out here very soon. We would suggest that you try to reflect on what some of your goals for attending the conference would be. Do you have personal goals or goals that you may want to take back to your employer or your organization? Just try to think about some of those things as you're looking to plan out what you will be doing while at the conference. And bring those goals with you. We'd like to help you succeed and achieve as many of those as possible. There's some questions we would like to bring to several of you as first-time attendees. First of all, you may want to ask yourself, what is it that I want to learn about? If one of our certifications is something that you're interested in pursuing in the future, we might suggest that you look at the certification exam blueprints to try to get an idea of what exactly you may not know or be as familiar with, and try to plan the sessions that you're going to attend around that. You may also want to look at the SSH accreditation standards for organizational practices that you would want to learn about. Also, the exhibit hall is going to be the largest that it's ever been in IMSH history. So you might want to plan out what you would like to get out of attending the exhibit hall, or you're going to be looking to buy some new products, just gather some information, just learn about what's out there and available in the industry. So try to keep some of those things in mind as well. Is there anybody you'd like to meet? Several of our attendees have been coming to this conference for many, many years, so you'll see some familiar names and faces within the industry. And you might also want to think about how you would get involved within the SSH community as well. Right now on the screen is a map of the area surrounding the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. That is where most of the events for IMSH will be taking place. We're in the north concourse of that building, which is this blue rectangle on the map. Right next to that is the Hyatt Regency Orlando, which is the headquarters hotel for the conference where many of our attendees will be staying, this area in red. And then over here, the block in green is an area called Point Orlando, which contains many restaurants and shops, which are also within walking distance of the convention center area. So just to familiarize yourself a little bit of the map and the layout of the location. Here's another look at the convention center itself. This is the main floor where you will be entering into the building. Over here where the blue arrow is likely, if you were staying at the Hyatt Hotel, you would be entering through here. The red and green areas is where the registration and also the area called SSH Central, where you will find a lot of information about SSH. Several SSH staff will be there from time to time as well, and a lot of resources will be available to you there. The square that is highlighted in blue is an escalator that will go down to the lower level. That will be where the exhibit hall is, as well as where you will enter into the plenary session. And there's another level above where many of the session classrooms will be held as well. This is just another map of the exhibit hall itself. It might be a little bit hard to read right now, which it does show all the companies and organizations that will have booth space at the exhibit hall at IMSH this year. And again, it's going to be quite large, so we're pretty excited about that. There'll be lots of opportunities to meet with vendors and folks. Oftentimes our exhibitors will debut new products here, so it's a very exciting place, and you want to make sure to give yourself enough time to see everything that is available within the exhibit hall.
And then we could pull the learning history. And then
there's going to be many educational offerings available to you at IMSH this year. I think we have over 400 different offerings to choose from and a variety of types of sessions as well. Some of those will include panel presentations, workshops. We have plenary sessions each day on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There is a session type called Simventors, where new product ideas can be showcased here. We have professor rounds and poster presentations, a technology experiential area, learning labs, which are hosted by our vendors, hot topic sessions, and technical proceedings. And you can also view many of the pre-recorded sessions that you were not able to attend at a later date. Some general tips and thoughts that we wanted to make sure to bring to you would be to definitely go to all of the plenary sessions. We have a great lineup of speakers this year that we're very excited about, and do not want you to miss any of those. So be sure to add those to your schedule.
No, I'm just looking. Thank you, though.
You also want to think about some of the big things that you want to learn when you're scanning through the session descriptions. Keep in mind that there's no perfect set of courses, so don't worry if there may be one you have to choose over another. And also don't get caught up in some of the things that might limit your course selections. Every session will have something for everybody, no matter the presenter's background, their clinical setting, simulation setting, etc. There's always something to learn from everybody within this industry. And just go to what you can. It is there's so much to do at IMSH, so many sessions available. So don't get overwhelmed if you're not able to attend everything that you may have wanted to. One of the greatest reasons that people want to attend IMSH is for those networking opportunities. There are so many available to you at this conference. For example, you might want to consider going to some of our section, SIG, or affinity group meetings. These groups are formed around different aspects of healthcare simulation, for example, simulation setting, learners, etc., that you would probably resonate with. These meetings are primarily hosted in the mornings before the sessions start. So there are a variety of meetings on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday morning. So be sure to check the schedule out to see if there are any of those that you may want to attend. And you likely know how much this community depends on engaging with others. And there's going to be lots of folks that want to meet you as well and learn from you and see what you're doing within healthcare simulation. Oftentimes our vendors will host events where you can meet with them, get to know them, learn about their products. So once you're working your way around the exhibit hall, be sure to try and ask and find out information about those. And we also have some other networking events. For example, the President's Diamond Ball on Saturday evening. A lot of awards are given out. There's a very nice dinner and dancing that night, so it's always a lot of fun. There are receptions in the exhibit hall, as well as even Sunday morning, we're hosting a fun run. There will be many resources available to you on site at the conference. We have many folks who have volunteered to be an IMSH connector. I think some of those folks are on the call today as well. They will have badge ribbons that say IMSH connector on their name badge, so they'll be easy to find at the conference. You'll also want to make sure that you stop by SSH Central. It's on the main floor of the convention center. It's right near the registration area. There will be lots of resources available to you specifically about SSH and simulation community partners as well. Another area that you may need to stop by at some point during the conference is our presenter center. If you're going to be doing any presentations, you will want to stop by there and meet with our education team. This room is near the escalators that go down to the plenary hall and the exhibit hall. We will also have a mobile app which you can use to view courses and do course selections. Information will be coming out about that very soon. We do also suggest that you would go to make your initial schedule via a web browser rather than the app. So keep that in mind as you're build out your schedule and the selection of courses that you're going to be attending. All attendees will also receive a program book which contains all of the courses that are happening at IMSH and lots of other information as well. And some printed maps that will show you the convention center in greater detail. There will be some digital signs outside of each of the rooms in the convention center. These will show what is happening in that room on what day and at what time. So keep in mind, we try to keep it to a minimum, but there could be some courses that are canceled or rescheduled. So you always want to check those boards in the event app for the most up-to-date version of the schedule. There will be many directional and informational signs to help you get around the convention center. They'll be throughout the hotel as well. And several members of, actually all SSH staff members will be on site at the conference too, and there and happy to help. Most of us will have on SSH branded apparel like I'm wearing today, and we'll have special ribbons on our name badges that say staff too. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have several folks that have volunteered to help our first-time attendees navigate the conference. They are the IMSH connectors, and they've volunteered to be there for you. Most of them have been to IMSH several times in the past, so they're able to provide a lot of insight and help answer the questions that you may have about navigating a large conference like this. And again, they will be wearing special ribbons on their name badges, so they should be easy to find. We've also asked them to be in the SSH central area about 10 minutes before the plenary sessions to be able to answer questions that anybody may have there on site. Right here, you will find photos of all of the SSH staff members. Again, we will all be there. Most of us are stationed in various locations throughout the conference, but again, hopefully we should be easy to find, and any of us would be able to help with any questions that you may have. That wraps up the presentation that I had today. Now we just like to welcome any questions that any of you may have, and you can feel free to place them into the chat, or you can use the hand raise feature as well, and we'll be sure to address any that you have. Go ahead, Azad.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for this informative session, really. It was very helpful. And I agree with most of my colleagues if we can have this for future reference, hopefully. My question to you is regarding the pre-conference session, where is there anything to be considered for the pre-session, for the pre-conference session, if someone is registered in the pre-conference session?
Is this the research summit you're asking
Yes.
about? Okay,
yes.
Are you registered to attend it?
Yes.
Okay, yes, that'll be held. It starts on Friday. On Friday afternoon, it goes into Friday evening, and then again all day on Saturday. Were there any specific questions that you had about it?
My question is, anything to consider or prepare before I go to the research summit? Anything that will be helpful, like the presentation that you shared with us right now?
Andrew, do you have any insight on that by chance?
Oh, sure. I would suggest the only thing that you probably need to think about for the research summit is just to look at our webpage for the research summit itself. And it lists things like the 12 topics that were investigated through their methodology, and just it will all be presented during the research summit, but that would just give you a little bit of a primer to understand what they've done, the methodology that they have employed, and to help you. They will have some working sessions, and so you can think about perhaps looking at some of the literature, or if there's any topics that are of particular interest when they break you all out into sessions. That way you can perhaps focus on sessions related to topics that are of more interest.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Ashley, I could toss in a little bit as a member of one of the committees if you.
Absolutely. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jenny. Really excited to meet some of you newcomers at the conference. The groups that are presenting at the Research Summit, we've been working all year to try to discover new things about what we know and don't know in simulation. So we hope to present to you kind of the best evidence base, but we'll also be sharing some open questions that we haven't been able to answer yet. And also always interested in your take on, the things we've discovered. Are they helping you? Are they not helping you? So we'll do our best to present sort of the cutting edge research reviews that we've done, but I'd say most of us are also very interested in what works for you and what serves you. So look forward to being in dialogue with you there.
Thank you so much. I see a hand raised from Jess. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. You may have covered this. I'm sort of working at the same time that I'm trying to pay attention, but I saw on the website it said things about reserving spots in the different workshops and panel discussions and everything. Is that something that we are going to be able to do before we get there, or do we not have to reserve?
Yes, you will want to reserve spots in advance. It hasn't opened quite yet, but it will be opening very soon. We'll likely be sending out an email to all attendees as soon as the session scheduler is open. You'll be able to select any sessions that you would like to attend at that time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry if you already covered that.
You're welcome. No, that's fine. Vivian, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Hi, yeah. For those of us not attending the Research Summit, is the outcome of those going to be made available?
Andrew or Jenny, any insight on that?
Just got it on my ear. Yeah, for those.
Jenny, you want to go ahead and answer that?
Sure. Yeah, so our goal is to publish what we have worked on over the year. And I am not the leader of my area. I'm just a participant in my area. So I don't know if there's a coordinated plan with SSH to somehow release some preliminary summaries. My guess is that because of the restrictions of the journals to which we'll be submitting, we won't be able to give much out in advance, but we will be able to provide sort of abstracts or summaries would be my guess. But that's not a definitive answer. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact plan on that.
What about after the fact, after the summit?
That's what I'm saying. Because our goal is to submit these as publications, the journals to which we submit them are a little picky about pre-releasing. So
I see.
probably it'll be only summary.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just like to give a little guidance to newcomers, which is, a lot of the experienced people on here are connectors, but generally people at the conference are very friendly and generous. And if you are a newcomer and you go up to pretty much anybody and you say, this is my first time, people are going to want to help you. So please talk to us connectors, but I think, my experience when I was attending it for the first couple times is people were so generous and helpful, and that's the general philosophy of the society, I think.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I see a hand raised from May. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, thanks for doing this. I had a quick question regarding invite-only events. Is there a way to secure invites, or what is that procedure, or is that even a possibility?
So some of our meetings, is there something in particular you were wondering about as far as invitation only?
I would have to look. I know yesterday when I was looking at some of the different presentation opportunities, some of them said by invite, and there were some research ones and that type of thing that seemed interesting, but wasn't sure if those would be available to the general population.
Okay.
Ashley, do you want me
weigh in on
to address that? Oh, I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
could
For
speak to some of that.
most of the invitation only meetings are committee meetings, things like I'll pick on like the certification council, accreditation council, it could be the meetings oversight, whatever it might be. And so it's only members of those committees that are at those meetings unless they have made them open to all. If there's a specific meeting that you're interested in, however, some of the larger ones, there are different possible invitations. So you can certainly tell us and we'll let you know if there's a possibility.
Thank you.
And Jill, did you want to add additional in there? I apologize. I started speaking over you.
Totally fine, Andrew. I was just going to speak to some of the ones that might look research like. Sorry, I can't speak. I'm getting over a cold, but so like the virtual scholars, we have a presentation of their stuff, and that's generally by invite only because it's usually just that group. And off the top of my head, there might be one or two others, like fires. That's usually by invite only too. And there's one more that I'm thinking of. Some of the, what are we calling them now? They're not fully done research studies, but they're being presented like works in progress, but that's not what we call them anymore.
DPPs, and I can't remember what that stands
Yes,
for. Those are
thank
closed
you.
sessions.
Thank you. Those are all closed sessions. And so you won't be missing a lot of content for those because they're kind of smaller closed sessions for those particular groups. Hope that helped me.
Thanks, everyone. Melody, go ahead with your question.
Didn't really have a question. I was just kind of hitting a few things in the chat. It looks like most of them were answered, but one of them that I didn't see a response to was when does registration open and when can you actually pick up your packets? And hello, everyone. I'm Melody Bethers. I'm one of the connectors. I'm excited for you to join us at IMSH. So I think the only question I didn't see a response to was when does registration open? When can we pick up packets?
Sure. It officially opens on Friday. That day would be the 20th when the research summit opens as well. And it will be open from early in the morning until I think around 4:30 each day while we're on site at the conference. So you can stop by anytime during those hours to pick up your badge and program book and all of those sorts of things. Vivian, did you have another question?
Yes, I did have another question. So on the last day, there are the external events, you know, I guess it's out of the convention center, and the one I wanted to go to was filled up. There were no more spaces. So my question is, what is the likelihood that spaces will be made available? And if they are, when and how will we be notified? Because I guess there's a fee to pay to attend that session.
Yes, all of the post-conference immersive courses do have an additional fee if you would like to attend any of those. I will double check to see if we have any waitlist opportunities. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll look into. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would suggest I'm going to put an email address in right now into the chat box because I believe they were trying to create some additional spots. So Vivian, if you want to email that directly and tell them I sent you and put your name immediately on the wait list for the one that is of interest. And again, not all of them are going to have it. They were going to try and create more spaces, but some of them I know they were going to try and get a few more people in. Oh,
excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Isabel, I saw a very interesting question. I see someone's already weighed in on that. The biggest thing for first-time attendees is it's not so much about bringing things, although I see there's some wonderful suggestions from Heather Noland about bringing business cards and having ability to write things down on a Padfolio and stuff like that. By the way, we're giving a Padfolio out with your registration bag, so that helps make that one a little bit easier. The biggest thing is to just come with a wide open mind. I've done some of your research ahead of time, and I welcome some input from the connectors as well as to some of their insights. If you want to put your hands up and share or put things in the text like Heather has, because as a first-time attendee, it can feel overwhelming. So just come in with it and be ready to take a deep breath and just wade in where you can, because there's so many wonderful things to jump into. And you won't have really any misses, because there's lots of opportunities out there. So other suggestions that people want to put in the text or add in.
I see a hand raised from Les. Would you like to add anything onto that?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Les Bart. I'm with Rutgers University in New Jersey. This will be my 5th time going to IMSH. I've been in the sim side for a little while. I remember going the first time. It is going to be a little bit overwhelming just with the sheer amount of things that you're looking at to go do and try and figure out your day. 2 things I would recommend to you. Make sure that you bring your phone. Obviously, take pictures of things so you don't have to take them back with you in your luggage, because ultimately product slicks and little pamphlets, brochures tend to weigh a lot. Bring yourself a battery extender, something that you can charge your phone while you're around in the exhibit hall, because you will kill your phone trying to take notes, take pictures, and that sort of stuff along with that. So having a battery pack or something you can charge your phone on is very useful. And then a backpack, or if there's a bag that is going to be given out, that's always good too.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from folks or tips from our connectors that are here with us?
Oh, just to add something about the dress code is be prepared for some rooms being warm, some being cool. So just having layers so that you can be comfortable.
Absolutely.
Ashley, I have one thought.
Sure, go right ahead.
If you're wanting to talk to someone who's presenting, and I'll just speak as someone who often does present, I'm very nervous and busy before the presentation. I'm trying to get my team together. I'm trying to get my presentation together, et cetera, et cetera. So I might appear unfriendly and not accessible, but I'm going to be dying to talk to you right after. So definitely, I'm sure I'm not the only one who gets nervous. So feel free to grab us after. And if we're not as friendly before, that's the only reason why.
That's a good point. Thank you for that.
I couldn't agree more with her. I'm usually trying to find my co-presenters.
Absolutely.
I'll also add one other thing on the exhibit floor. There are various meal times or different sort of brunches that are put out. Take advantage of that. If there's food right there on the exhibit hall floor at a specific time, just pay attention to it. You'll see them come out and you can grab your food there, and they'll actually save you some time rather than leaving the convention center, trying to go find something to eat somewhere and then come back. So keep that in mind when you're traveling around.
Yes, that is great. I believe we'll have lunch in the exhibit hall on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of the conference.
Vivian, did you have another question?
I actually didn't. I forgot to lower my hand. But actually, I will ask a question.
That's why I wanted to check, just to make sure.
Yeah, but actually, I will ask a question. For those of us who are going a couple of days early to go to the theme parks, any suggestions?
I suppose, first of all, SeaWorld is actually almost within walking distance of the Hyatt Regency, if you like that. I believe the weather will be in the mid 70s Fahrenheit, which, without doing the conversion math in my head, I believe that plays out in sort of the mid 20s Celsius. If someone can do the actual math if they want. from there, Disney or Universal, or I can't remember all the things. I mean, they're mega theme parks anymore, are all within relatively short driving distances, depending on traffic. I would bet if you took an Uber, most of those would be sort of in the $20 range one way to get to any of them. Though I would definitely suggest you purchase your tickets ahead of time, because I think they still have limits on how many can get into the parks for most of them. So I would certainly encourage you to do that. And not to be
Andrew,
disappointed when you
Disney,
go ahead.
yeah, Disney does have a reservation system. I can tell you that. I was there just a
Great.
couple weeks ago. So you do have to reserve ahead of time to get into the Disney parks and buy your ticket ahead of time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the top tips.
Yeah, and then see, I even see from Jill, approach the parks back to front. So you go to the far back first and work your way back towards the front. See that there's an experienced park attendee right there. And fast passes, yes. Good point, Jill. Anything else you want to add, Jill? Because Jill's local to the area, and so probably has been to all of the parks there.
Bring your appetite. I don't know, and your credit card. I don't know.
Andrew, I'm sure Jill may corroborate this with me, but between 2:30 and 3:30 in Florida, there's usually a brief thunder shower at some point. So if it starts to rain, don't worry. It probably will be gone in 20 minutes anyway. So if you're at a theme park, try to time your stuff to be indoors. So like if you go to Epcot, go indoors in that time frame, and then everything else will clear out, and then you can have free reign of the rides right next to it when the thunderstorm is over. So that goes for
And then
anywhere else.
The other pro tip, this is so dumb, but Epcot does fireworks every night. And if you book one of the restaurants, the Rose and Crown is one of the great ones to go to at about 8:30 p.m. You'll have a great shot of the fireworks from the restaurant. So
cool.
Any other questions?
Just, I know food has come up a couple of times. Generally speaking, we have backed way down on what we have for breakfast. We'd have just sort of very, like coffee and things like that, because most people are coming over and have already eaten at the hotels, and we found that we were throwing away a tremendous amount of food, and we hate to have that kind of waste. And so we focused on having the lunch. So we actually have lunch on Sunday now for you, which is a new thing we've added in. So lunches are available Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for everyone. So you can plan your meetings accordingly. There's of course the various receptions as well to think about as well. And I saw a lot of text messages about the scheduling app. It literally is going to go out anytime. They're just fine tuning those last little bits. So just watch your email, and of course get in and do the scheduling. The easiest way to do that, even though you can do it through the app, it's much easier to do it on the website. You can schedule either through the website or the mobile app, but we recommend doing it while you're at work, getting it done ahead of time, and there's a much easier navigation on the web platform.
You guys know when that'll be available?
Quite literally anytime. They could be hitting send now for all I know, but I'm expecting it sometime today, and if for some reason it runs last minute glitches, it'll be tomorrow, I expect, but I'm expecting it quite literally almost any time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or tips from our connectors?
For the hot topic section, and they said those were only 15-minute sessions. Is it possible to kind of drop in and out of those multiple ones since they're only 15 minutes, or is it just like a beginning at 10 o'clock and ending at 10:15?
The format of the hot topics is that they group either 4 or 6 of them together for that normal hour to hour and a half long session for that overall educational block. If you wish to drop in and out, you certainly can. The challenge, of course, is then what do you go into next? And you'd either be jumping into the middle of another session or having to leave one early if there was one particular hot topic. So they've tried to group together a series of shorter presentations with sort of like or similar topics in that particular session. I hope that helps.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
Thank you.
I see a hand raised from Catherine. Go ahead with your question.
Actually, I'm presenting a hot topic and I just was seeking some clarity as far as, are there, is the setup available if you wanted to do a little PowerPoint, or is it all going to be verbal and then we make handouts? I just was not really clear. And so I just want to, as I finalize everything, just want to understand and make sure I have something that's appropriate for what we're doing. This is my first time at IMSH, so I've not been to a session and not sure what they actually look like.
I would suggest your best bet is probably to actually, I'm going to type that email address in again, just to make sure that you have it, just to ping them about what their recommendations are, the education group. Now, having said that, you as an educator have a pretty good idea of what you're trying to get across. And so I would certainly encourage you to think about your educational design construct within that 15 minutes and determine whether handouts, open discussion with just a few key points, whether you actually want to try and do a PowerPoint and sort of flip through it TED Talk style or whatever it is you're trying to do, or some combination thereof. Certainly take advantage of what your vision is for that. And then based on that vision, just ask the that email, the education department, just making sure that this is feasible. Are there any limitations? Things like that, just so you don't get there and have any surprises based on what it is you would like to do in that 15 minutes. Because those are very challenging presentations. There's no doubt about it. When we're in an hour long, we can get a bit lazy and you've got some time to make things up. 15 minutes, you got to be on it. And so you have a vision, just try and make it happen. And if there's things that you need and that we can perhaps help with, then reach out to us.
Thanks a lot, Andrew.
I don't see any other questions in the chat. Feel free to raise your hand if you still have any other questions.
I know Ashley and I are going to try and make ourselves as available as possible, especially on the Sunday prior to the plenary. So the best bet, if you're wanting to ask questions, is certainly to start in that registration and better yet, the SSH central area where you find staff. And of course, the connectors know to go there as well and be available. You can see their ribbons and things like that, but you're going to love our connectors. They're amazing individuals, as you're seeing on this call, and they just want to help you have a wonderful experience because they've had to learn the ropes a bit, probably too much on their own, and we're trying to give more support to our future attendees that are coming for the first time. And of course, our connectors are such a great way to achieve that. So thank you all for volunteering to be connectors.
Andrew, there was one question. There was a question about water bottles this year. Are they being given out in fill stations?
SSH is not doing water bottles. That's not to say one of our vendors is not. We rotate through what we give out. And so we're doing things like the pad folios and such this year, but not water bottles. So again, hopefully a vendor will, if you're looking for one. Of course, bring a clear one that you can take through the various checkpoints for airports and then fill them up on the other side. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
Yes, thanks, everybody.